Hey everybody, my name is Jerry Kostecka. I'd like to welcome you to this Facebook Live and Adjunct Distributor training. Tonight we are doing the first installment of Straight Talking with Gerald Kostecka. I want to do a little bit of busy work first as far as this training is concerned. So here's a couple of things. First off, the Facebook algorithm is based on interactivity and response is really what it's based on, okay? So during this training, you're going to see posts that are being made by the people that are watching this. Some of the posts are going to be made by my son, who's helping me. Basically, he is my tech and AV guy for this. He'll be making some posts with different website addresses and things like that. Then you're going to see other people making comments to stuff and making little posts themselves. One of the things I'm going to ask everybody who's watching this to do is, for every single post that is made, no matter who makes it, I'd like you to please hit like or love or wow or whatever. Just do a response to it. Just not the angry face, obviously, because that's not a positive thing. But if you can hit like on every single post that is put on this thing, and again, whether you do it or not. So if somebody makes a post, just hit like. And if everybody would do that, this training it'll be viewable and accessible to more people. And obviously, the more of the Adjunct distributors that get this information, the better the project is going to be, because an informed distributor base and an educated distributor base is an effective distributor base. Okay? So that's the very first thing. Also, make sure that you're subscribing to our Facebook page as well as our Going6A.com YouTube channel. And then make sure that you're subscribed to our email list on Going6A.com. It's very easy to find all that stuff. For the YouTube channel, simply go to YouTube. You can put in the very top search, Going6A. It will take you to our channel. You just go in there and literally just hit the subscribe button. And then every time that we post a new video, like training like this, or some of the other trainings that aren't done live, but we have trainings that have been done before with different videos, you'll get notifications of those so you can stay up to date on everything that's happening. So make sure you're dialed in with that, okay? So I want to start tonight by addressing why this is being called straight talking, okay? So when I first started in this business, there was really not a whole lot of stuff out there. And I was working with Daniel D. McCauley, and Danny and I, decided that we were going to go into a studio and put together a series of audios that people could, like CDs and stuff. Remember, this was 12 years ago, okay? So CDs were still a thing, okay? So we basically went into a studio with this big script of stuff, and we started covering it. Well, it's just like in the movies. When you see like a broadcast or something, or a recording session, it's just like in the movies. There's a room where the people who are doing the talking are. There's microphones and everything. And then there's a separate room where there's a little guy in front of a big board with buttons and all sorts of stuff who's doing all the levels and everything to make sure that it sounds good. Well, we got done with about 30 minutes of our stuff, and the guy needed to switch over the tape. So while he was doing that, we were just talking. And we were talking about what we were doing, I have, when we're done here, I've got to go deliver some water to such and such. And, we've got to do the demo, in Mission Viejo, tomorrow. And we were just talking about this stuff. Well, all of a sudden the board operator chimed in and said, hey, did you guys want me to record this? And we were kind of like, record what? Because all we were doing was talking about what we were doing. And he basically said, look, I've done a lot of these things before, but the stuff that you guys are covering right now is actually very helpful. So we said, well, yeah, why not? Well, as a result of that, this is what ended up happening. This was the 5th edition of the Straight Talk CDs. And this, I'm going to tell you this right now, this right here probably created thousands of 6As. Thousands of 6As. Because the information that we were covering was like the basics. And it was really covering the stuff in a very cool way. So I want to get back to that. I want to get back to the basics. I want to get back to straight talk. Now, here's another reason that this is called Straight Talking with Gerald Kostecka. Is if you know me, I'm a very straightforward person, okay? I wear my heart on my sleeve. You want to know something about me? Simply ask. I will tell you. I've been married now for almost 25 years. So the games that sometimes people play, I've had no reason to for a very long time. And so I don't play games. If you want to know something, ask me. I always joke around and say, if you want to know how you look in that outfit, I'm the guy to ask. Because I'll tell you. Because if you look like crap, I'm going to tell you that you look like crap. I'll do it. I'll finesse it. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to BS you, okay? So that's why if you saw there was a little video that was promoting this training today, it said no BS training. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing, okay? Now, I want to talk about that. And training itself, it's kind of open to interpretation, all right? So to me, what training is information, okay? Technical information is one thing that you can be trained on. That's really about the machine itself. So, the different levels of the waters, what they're good for, how they can be used, what should be, consumed, what shouldn't be consumed, the power output, the things like that, the machine itself. That's technical information. That technical info is very helpful for people, and it is something you should be trained on, is knowing some of the technical information on the machine. Then you've got general information, things like the industry, the competition, things of that nature, things that are more generalized information, but that are pertinent to our particular business, okay? Then you've got techniques. Now, this is another training topic that I think is very helpful. So you've got like specific actions that have proven results. Things like sampling water, conducting or attending a demo, how to get the most out of that. Inviting prospects to attend a demo. What are some of the ways that you can do that are effective? And when I say effective, I mean when you invite somebody, they show up. That proves its effectiveness. So if you're inviting people to demos and they're not coming, it's not for your lack of effort. It's that maybe you need to tweak the technique a little bit, and the way that you do that, especially if you're a newer person, is through training, okay? Then strategies, that's another one. It's kind of similar to technique, but it's a little bit different. It's like campaign ideas, again, with proven results, like dealing with a restaurant and how to effectively introduce our technology to a restaurateur. Having a booth at a trade show. It's what's the best strategy to maximize that. Things of that nature. So to me, those are things that are training topics that if you are trained in those areas, you are most likely going to be much more effective. Now, to me, things that are not training, okay, is, and I hate to say it like this, but again, this is no BS, and this is straight talk, okay? Distributor story time. People have to understand that there's a difference between a story and my story, okay? My story is very unique. Why? Because it was the stuff that happened to me. Now, it's not to say that some of the stuff that happened to me can't be relatable to other people. But if all you're going to do is relay your story, how you became successful, what you're going to end up doing is ostracizing a lot of other people, because if your situation isn't pretty darn close to theirs, it's very hard to relate to then. Okay? So, that's one that I really don't call that training. When somebody gets up and just kind of says what they've done in the magic, to me, it's great, and I have the utmost respect for them and the efforts and the things that they've done, but don't call it training, because training is when you walk away, you have something more than what you came with. Okay? So, and somebody's story to me is it's not something more. It's just, to me, it's kind of fluff. And maybe some people will be like, oh, that guy's a real jerk for saying that. Well, maybe I am a real jerk, but that's my opinion. So I think it's more fluff than content that really can do something for somebody. Okay? Leaders patting themselves on the back. That one too, man. It irks the heck out of me when you get somebody up there that in a lot of cases, and this is again straight talk, okay? A lot of the people that are in the highest ranks, we all have to understand how the comp plan works and how the distributor ranking system works. The reason these people are in those high-ranking positions is because of what their team has done. Now, it's not to say that they personally have not done outstanding things for their team, but the reality is they didn't sell personally 10,000 machines, okay? That was their group that did that. So when you've got leaders who get up there and pat themselves on the back of how great they are and all that they've done and everything else, to me, the only person that's serving is them and their egos. Okay? So, and again, one of the reasons I'm saying this is so that maybe the next time some of these people, maybe if they hear this, the next time they get up on stage, they will rethink their approach to the audience and realize that, maybe saying how great they are isn't doing anybody any good in the audience. It's not doing them any favors. And that maybe they'll change their approach a little bit to have more substance to the information that they're sharing. Okay? The last one that I have on here for not really training, and again, this is my opinion, and opinions are going to vary. They're going to differ, okay? But strictly motivation. I think one of the realities is that when a person first joins an adjunct, okay, they're excited. So really, if you think about it, motivation really isn't that much of an issue, at least not initially. Motivation doesn't usually become an issue until they've kind of experienced some self-perceived letdowns in the business. And the reason I say self-perceived is that, if somebody is brand new and they try to sample some water and people don't want to take the samples, or, they want to sell a machine and nobody seems to be interested, if that's letting them down, that's a self-perception, because this is sales, guys. It's numbers, it's activity, it's effort, okay? So if you're getting let down, especially at the very beginning because things aren't really popping, you just have to understand it's part of the deal. It's just the way it works. I mean, if you don't believe me, there's this guy kind of high up there in the business. His name's JV. If you don't believe me about self-perceived doubt, talk to him, okay? Because JV has a fantastic story about how he got started, and it really does. That particular story, it is something that's training worthy because of the fact that it illustrates how sometimes things don't work out the way you hope that they're going to, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to work out. Okay? Here, I wrote this little note just to kind of like put it in perspective for you, okay? I put down, if you need motivation, watch a Tony Robbins video or read a few Zig Ziglar quotes, okay? If you want training, though, then follow Straight Talking with me, your host, Gerald Kostecka. Okay, that's my little plug there. So, okay, so that's the first part of our training here, and before I get into the meat and potatoes of it, you know what I think we need to do, Nathaniel? I think we need to do a giveaway. That always gets the crowd riled up. Okay, so now this is one of the things that is interesting. I've told everybody you want to be on these live. And the reason is because if you're not on here live, you cannot participate in these giveaways. Why? Because we literally ask a question, get an answer while we're live, and that person wins. So if you're watching the recording of this, my apologies, but you're simply not qualified to be able to be eligible to get this. Why? Because you weren't here when we were actually doing it. Okay, so here's our first giveaway. This is going to be for a 25-pack of the Physical Fitness magazine. That's that guy right there. So here's our question, and the way it's going to work is, if you think you have the right answer, type it into the chat, and my trusted assistant is watching it. So when the first answer that is correct pops up, and it's the first answer that pops up. Okay, you might answer it fast, but there's been times people didn't hit the little enter or the post, and it doesn't pop up, okay? So here's our first question. On the Enagic website, as of today, how many different office locations are there? As of today, how many different office locations are there? So go ahead and put your answers in there. Do we have an answer that's correct yet? Okay. So again, for our first question, on the Enagic website, as of today, July 17th, 2019, how many different office locations are there?
The right answer is yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, if you still think it's 38, you're wrong. Okay.
We got our winner.
Okay, it looks like we have a winner. And for everybody, just so you know, this was the correct answer. This was printed off today. This is a screenshot as of today. 40 different offices. 40 different offices. That's amazing to me. Who was our winner, Nathaniel?
Kate pardon me if I mispronounce the last name, Von Sefe?
Okay, Kate, congratulations. So, Kate, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to need you to, when the training is over, you're going to send me a private message to my Gerald Kostecka Facebook page. Send me a private message with your full name and your mailing address. And we will be putting that out into the mail in the next day or two. So congratulations on that 25 pack of the highly coveted Physical Fitness magazine. All right. Those are always fun. I love doing this. Okay, moving on. So here's a straight talk topic number 1, expectations. So I like learning new things. I joke around a lot, but it's actually very true. I suffer from a hero complex, meaning that I like to be the guy who saves the day, even if it's just by knowing the answer to a question. So I tend to really check stuff out and want to know the in-depth, the background of stuff. That way, if somebody has a question, I'm not only able to answer that one, I'm able to answer the next 9 or 10 other questions that they have as a result of finding out the answer to the first question, okay? So I've reviewed and I've researched a lot of different things, okay? And I recently had heard a radio program, and there was this relationship expert guy that was talking about relationships, specifically expectations in relationships. And I have some notes here, so I'm gonna call on these notes, but it basically, what he was saying is, it doesn't matter the type of relationship that you're talking about, whether it be a relationship with a parent or siblings, whether it be a romantic relationship or a friendship or even a business relationship. One of the things that can cause major issues, okay, are your expectations creating an issue or conflict because your expectations for someone else didn't manifest. So basically that's, if let's say that, my son joins the business, and when he tells me, yeah, Dad, I'm going to join the business, all of a sudden my expectations for him are based on what I expect him to do, not what he expects him to do, but what I do. And then if he doesn't meet my expectations, I then feel like I have the right to be angry or the right to be disappointed. But the reality is, I didn't have the right to expect that from him in the first place, okay? So let's say you have a prospect that expresses interest in the business, okay? When they say, yeah, I think I'd like to try this thing, a lot of times what happens is we hear, I'm going to make you $1 million. That's what we hear. That's not what they said. But when they say that they're interested in the business, that's all of a sudden what we hear. And then our imagination starts to kind of run wild. And we get excited about what we expect them to do. Okay? Why would we do that? Well, one, you start thinking about those stories that you've heard about, somebody who got this dynamo and all of a sudden, man, their business exploded and they started getting checks rolling in the mail on a daily basis and they just can't believe what's happening. You're remembering those stories as soon as this person says that. You've heard the one person changed the dynamics of my business, which it does happen, but you have to realize it's like everything else in this. It's a numbers game. If you think that every single person you put in your business is going to be a dynamo, well, you haven't been in this long enough, okay? Because you're going to have more misses than hits. That's just the way that it is. But in this particular business, a few good hits can definitely win the game for you, okay? Now, I wrote this down as a note that said it can happen, but it needs to be you, not them, that makes it happen, okay? So you have to realize that they most likely don't have the same expectations as you do, meaning that they're not concerned with making you rich or fulfilling your expectations. They're concerned with fulfilling their own expectations, okay? Which is one of the reasons that you really need to make sure that you're communicating with them, okay? Now, here's another thing too. See, when they don't explode and have this great business happening, we tend to get mad or even upset And it's not because of their lack of effort, but because of our own unrealistic expectations of what we thought they should do. Okay? So by putting that on them, you're almost setting yourself and them up for failure. So it's important to realize that you might be a success-driven mad person, okay? Just cuckoo for freaking success. And you're willing to work 16 hours, 18 hours a day. But if that's the case, you need to understand you're the exception, not the rule, okay? If you project your personal expectations on someone else, you're probably going to wind up disappointed, okay? So what you have to understand is that when you're starting with a brand new person, communication is absolutely critical. You need to communicate with them to find out what drives them, what motivates them, what excites them, what their goals are, what their aspirations are. Then once you've been able to determine those things, the next thing you need to do is figure out what you can do to help facilitate those things. What is it that you're going to be able to do to help those people reach the goals that they have, okay? The thing that's going to make you an effective leader is learning what your prospects want and your team members need to succeed, and then giving it to them, okay? They shouldn't be working for your success. You should be working for theirs. And the only way that you can do that is by clearly knowing what it is that they want. And the way that you do that is by sitting down with them and taking it seriously. You know, if somebody only wants to add an extra $500 a month to their household budget, that's going to be a lot different than somebody wanting to replace a $5,000 a month salary. What they're going to be doing is going to be very different. So it's important for you and them to be on the same page so everybody's expectations are the same and everybody's working towards the same goal. Now, I do have a notation down here. It says, if there's a couple, okay, husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, okay, you need to make sure that both of them are on board. Because if they're not, okay, if you've got one that's really excited and the other one's really skeptical and they're like, no, I'm not behind this at all, I'm going to tell you right now, the person who's really excited, what they say to you in public is going to be much, much different than what they say to their partner in private, okay? And it is going to be the dynamic's going to be much, much different. It's going to be much different. So it's really important to make sure that both parties are 100%, behind this, because if I'm being straight and there's no BS, hey, look, yes, you're going to have to go out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to do things that you might not want to, all right? You work in a regular job, 8 hours a day. You might have to get home, jump in the shower so you don't offend anybody, and go to a meeting that night and not get home until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be wiped out. But you know what? You're going to know that you're doing the work that needs to be done for this thing to actually come to fruition for you. It's extremely important for you to understand that this is not a gimmicky program, man. This is a career choice. This is an actual business. And if you're running a business, you have to put in the time for it to be successful. It is not going to become successful by itself. It's just not going to. Now, thankfully, you don't have to do it traditionally and put in 30 or 40 years of a 15-hour day every single day of the week in order to create something that can actually become substantial and not only support you with your day-to-day life, but can give you a retirement and maybe even go and give your children something, okay? You don't have to do that here because of the way the program is set up, but you do have to put in some work. And that's the kicker, okay? That's the catch with this entire program. Everybody always wants to know, oh, wait a second, if you can make so much money and this product's so great, what's the catch? Well, that's the catch. You have to work, okay? So just remember that. So if there's ever a couple, it's important for you to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And I'm going to give you a little tip on this one. So one of the best ways that I found when I first started on this, I'm pretty fortunate. Again, I'm an exception, not a rule. My wife will let me do whatever I want. in business, in work, in anything else. We've always been very supportive of one another. And if I came home and said, "Hey, honey, I think I'm going to start selling big red balloons," she'd be like, "Fantastic. Do you need me to help tie them off?" That's just the way that she is. My entire family's been like that. But just to make sure, when I started this up, I put the distributorship in my wife's name. I did it for a couple of other reasons too. But the main one of the reasons was if anything happened to me, that'd be one less thing she's going to have to worry about. But one of the things that made it to where it was kind of the icing on the cake, when we got our first checks, they were in her name. And she had to endorse them for us to deposit them into our account. So she didn't have to listen to me telling her how real this was. She saw how real this was because she signed the check. Okay? So that's just a little thought out there. Now, here's the thing. Do not do that if you think your wife is going to divorce you. Okay? Because she will take all of your money and you will be screwed. But that probably won't happen. But I'm just saying, you know, that's... Oh, God, I hope she's not watching this. I don't want to give her any ideas. But, yeah, that's a really good tip, though, when it comes to making sure that the people are working together, okay? And on that note, I think it's time for another giveaway.
Woo!
I love how the crowd reacts to those. Okay, so this time our giveaway, and again, for live viewers only, sorry if you're watching the recorded version, this is going to be a 25-pack of the Pet Magazine. People love this one, man. They're really loving this because people love their pets. Most people with pets will do things for their pets they wouldn't do for their children or even themselves, okay, as far as like lavishing gifts on them, okay? So this is for a 25-pack of pet magazines. So which featured celebrity in the magazine is a Kangen water drinker and a former Biggest Loser trainer?
All right, then we have our winner.
Okay, now the answer, so everybody knows, is Jillian Michaels. Jillian Michaels from the show The Biggest Loser, former trainer. Just so everybody can kind of see it. That's the, I'm hoping you can see that okay. That's the top article is Jillian Michaels' article. Okay, so who was our winner?
Our winner was Christy Connor.
Christy Connor, congratulations. You're going to get yourself a 25-pack of the Pet Heads and Tails. I was trying. I really was. I was doing my best announcer voice on that one. You've got yourself a 25-pack, so just like our previous winner, send me a private message with your full name and your mailing address, and you'll have a 25-pack of the Pet Magazines coming your way. Thank you for playing, and have a nice night. Okay, let's go to our Straight Talk topic number 2. This is a new person and the internet. Don't get me started on the internet. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. The internet can be a great place for information, okay? But it's an even better place for misinformation. If you don't believe me, just ask our so-called competitors, okay? So while it's tempting to send new people online for information, and again, mainly because it's just much easier, realize that the internet is where people trying to compete with us entangle our prospects in their webs of deceit, okay? Everybody needs to understand that this business is just like anything in life, okay? You put in the work, you'll get the results. But if you put in minimal effort, you're probably going to get minimal results, okay? And that's just the way it is. And I think everybody understands that. I can't get any straighter than that. So if you're trying to send people to the internet and you're doing things electronically to save time, to save money, because it's less effort, realize that when your efforts have less involved in them, your results will also have less, okay? And again, it's just the way that it is, all right? You need to understand that every time you refer a prospect to anything online, anything at all, okay, you run the risk of them getting lost in a never-ending loop of crap, okay? My son just put up a little notation for me. It's risk versus reward. you do need to understand that when you have more at risk, it means that you have a greater potential reward. So if you're trying to keep your risk as low as possible, and sometimes risk is like time invested in something, because you could be risking not getting anything out of that whatsoever. Okay, so understand risk and reward. Okay, your prospects need information, but the internet holds potential dangers for them. So what do? Okay, well, first off, let's have a reality check. Let's have a straight talk reality check. Sending your prospects online, what can happen? Well, here's some of the things they can run into. Fake review websites, sponsored ads by other ionizer companies, biased reviews, fake laboratory tests and laboratory results, fake links. This is one I just recently saw on Facebook. Someone said, I saw something that looked like a promotion for Enagic. It had the Enagic machine. It said Enagic. There was a link. They said, I decided to check it out and see what the information was. It went to a competitor's website. The link did. Because the competitor is the one who made the post. And they knew that people looking into Enagic would be compelled to click the link. Okay? So be careful of that. You might be sending somebody to a page that directs to one of our competition, okay? Or one, they're not even competition. I need a different word that embodies what they are. I mean, losers is already taken. Scumbags was taken too. I looked, and so it's it's hard to come up with a word. You know what? Leeches. Leeches is a really good one. Why? Because they're bloodsuckers. And they suck the blood out of our prospects that we create. So leeches, I love that. I'm going to use that from now on. So instead of the competition, I'm just going to say the leeches. Okay? So if anybody needs to know what I mean by that, that's what I mean. All right? So be careful of those leeches. Misleading information. There's a lot of misleading information on there. Here's another one that can happen if you send your prospects online. They can wind up looking at an eBay or an Amazon marketplace or even a Walmart marketplace sales site, which, just so you know, a lot of times these are fake postings that are literally posted by the leeches in order to create dissent amongst our prospects and our distributors. So they'll go online and they'll type in Kangen Water or Enagic, and all of a sudden a machine pops up that says eBay. They click on that, and then they're like, wait a second, I can get this machine from eBay for $3,000 less. Well, what you end up finding, then you have that person contact you back as the distributor, and they're like, hey man, what's the deal? Why should I pay you $4,000 when this thing says it's $1,000? And now you're a brand new person, and you're going, oh God, I don't know. Well, a lot of those ads that you see on there, they're fake. The leeches put them out there in order to create that dissension, to create a problem for you. And now that person that you're dealing with isn't 100% sure of you. They've been able to do that. Okay? So realize and just so you know, like the Amazon Marketplace and Walmart Marketplace, these marketplaces, these are a way for these bigger companies to use their name to make a little extra money. Because basically all it is, it's a swap meet. It's not Amazon. It's not Walmart. It's not Sears. It's not any of these companies. It's a marketplace. And basically what's happening is you've got outside people who promote products, and then these larger companies take a small percentage for allowing them to basically use their name to sell their products. Okay? So you've got to be careful of that. Because where is that located? Online. And it's the only place it's located. All right? Now here's another one you really have to keep in mind. You send your prospect online, it is very possible that they're going to wind up finding a different distributor. Which means they might find someone else that ends up taking your prospect as their sale. Okay? So be careful of that. And it's not that they're doing it intentionally, because sometimes people just randomly will contact another person in this business and they'll be like, hey, I was looking into this and I'm interested. So let me ask you this. If somebody just randomly contacted you and said, I'm interested in these machines, are you going to have the wherewithal to go, wait a second, how did this person find me? And ask them, well, that's great. How did you find me? Or are you going to be so darn excited that it's not even going to cross your mind to ask that question? You're just excited that they're interested and maybe that they're going to be making a purchase and that they might become a distributor. And that's all you're thinking now. You're not thinking about where they originated from. But there's a lot of times that distributors will send a prospect online and they never hear from them again. And then they just think, oh, that person wasn't interested. And unbeknownst to them, they found a different distributor and ended up talking to them and then buying the machine from them. So you do have to be careful of that. And like I said, it's not that people are doing it intentionally. It's just that that's what happens when you send someone to this myriad of information and possibilities. Don't be surprised when the possibility doesn't happen for you, that it happens for somebody else, okay? Major distractions. That's another thing. You send somebody online, major distractions. For what? New apps, other businesses, other products, old distributors that are working new deals. All these different things are potential because that's where this stuff resides, okay? And you want a real big distraction? Let me tell you, this new old face app that everybody's going gaga for, let me tell you the problem. You need to look into the security issues with this, okay? About what information you're giving up so you can look like an old man or old woman. I'm going to tell you, it's going to come soon enough. Especially if you're not drinking this water, okay? So you really need to be careful of what you're involving because now everybody's freaking distracted by this stupid app. They've got all these, there's news reports. Oh, look at the top 10 basketball players who cares, man? Are you kidding me? You're going to be so infantile in your decision making that you're going to start playing around with a stupid app instead of focusing on your business and making sure that you're concentrating on the things that are going to make you money. I'm going to tell you, James Worthy's, not James Worthy. What's the James, the basketball guy, with the Lakers now. I don't even know his freaking name. James. It's either his first or last name. I don't know. Huh?
LeBron James?
LeBron James. Okay. He was one of the. You know what? He's a great basketball player, but I could give a rat's butt about what he's going to look like when he's 80. Who cares? But that seems to be like the thing people are, oh, wow, this is really neat. Pfft, come on. You have to realize there's more negatives online that can happen than positives. So you just got to be really careful with that. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, okay? So the first example is a search engine. I put in the search parameters, simply put in the word Enagic. Okay, that's what I put in there. And I want to read to you the first things that pop up, okay? Now, these are ads related to Enagic. Now, the problem is the ads part is so tiny that you can barely see it. However, when it starts out like this, is Kangen water a scam? Okay, let me ask you, why would you even ask that question if you weren't trying to infer that it was, right? Now, the interesting thing is it's followed by no, but it is an MLM, which is like, what does that? And actually, we're not an MLM. We're a direct sales company. But, and ironically enough, the very first listing when you put in Enagic in a Yahoo search is for Air, Water, Life. And I will say their name because it's right here. And I printed this out today. The next ad is for Life Ionizers. And it says Enagic. Model comparisons and reviews. Now let me ask you something. Do you think you're going to get an unbiased review of our product from a leech? I mean, in all honesty, if you want to know how good a Toyota is, would you go to the Honda dealer to ask? Because if you would, maybe you deserve exactly what you get. But basically, if you look at this front page, it's not until the very bottom of the page where that's highlighted that you actually get to Enagic itself. Okay? So that was just the word Enagic. Then I did another search, and I did all this today to make sure it's current, okay? I put in Kangen water. Here we go. Kangen water. The exact same thing, you guys. Over on the right, look at that. eBay, Amazon. I mean, it's like, come on, what's going on? The very top one, what is Kangen water? by Water Ionizer Expert. Just so you know, Water Ionizer Expert is a website that is for a different brand, okay? Same thing with this one. The second one again, Kangen Water, model comparisons and reviews. Guess who? Life Ionizers. Then we've got Air Water Life again. Then we've got some other weird one, $219 water ionizer. So what I'm trying to say with this is that by sending somebody to the internet, what you're actually potentially doing is helping the leeches. Why would you want to do that? I created this to kind of give you an idea of what it might look like, okay? If you had a map. So to the left-hand side, you've got the starting point with the prospect. And basically, you have the internet up top and what I call the safety net down below, okay? So the internet up top, when you send them there, you're going to find people that are, different brands. They're doing their little comparisons. You're going to see people saying that, a news report by CBS News, they're going to say it's fake news, that it never happened, that it was contrived by Enagic Distributors. Not that it was actually on CBS in Los Angeles, and, but because they're not being recognized for this. What people have to understand, the way these guys operate is when they can't compete at the same level as us, which they can't at all. So all they do is trickery. That's their bottom line, is trickery. The things that you'll find online, it's insane. The things that you'll find online, honestly. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I guess they try to do is, because they're all the way down here and we're all the way up here, okay? Well, they know that they can't elevate themselves to our level, so they try to bring us down to theirs, okay? And that is, well, it's not the way that it is, and that's why they have to go to these lengths. But the only place that this stuff is found is online. These guys aren't taking out full-page articles in the LA Times. No, they're posting stuff online. One of the reasons is so they can pull it down in case they get threatened to be, if they are threatened to be sued. Also, it's very cost effective for them. It costs like nothing. Okay? So let me talk about the safety net, all right? And this is what I call it, the safety net. So you have two choices, the internet or the safety net. The choice is yours, but again, so are the consequences, okay? So you do have to keep that in mind. Oh yeah, it's basically it's some of the printed type materials. It's some of the printed type materials that will, and I'm going to explain why I call those the safety net, okay? So, in talking about the internet too, I want to just address one more thing. Here's another straight talking reality check. None of the top 10 earners in Enagic use ClickFunnels or automated internet systems. Success in this business comes with the ability to duplicate your efforts, okay? If everyone has a ClickFunnel, who in the world is clicking? Nobody. We're all waiting around for each other to click. That's why something like that doesn't work. It doesn't work on the large scale, okay? Here's the biggest reality check. The founder, Mr. Oshiro, says that this is a person-to-person business, face-to-face, okay? Not a person-to-monitor or laptop or tablet or phone business. Face-to-face, person-to-person. So if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine, okay? You might be saying, who the heck is this guy anyway, okay? You don't want to listen to me? That's fine. But if you don't want to listen to the person who's built this business into a thriving global powerhouse, well, then maybe you're just stupid. I said it. Again, this is straight talk. So if you don't want to listen to the guy who started this thing, you are stupid. Because if you're not listening to his advice, then you evidently think you're smarter than he is. And somehow he's built $1 billion company And if you haven't, then I would not challenge his wisdom, his foresight, and the way that he believes this will work the best. Okay? So let's talk about the safety net printed materials. Okay? What you get when you use printed materials. Here's a few things that you get. Okay? Number one is verified and accurate information. It's been very thoroughly researched, and you didn't have to do the work to find that information out. Okay? Someone else did. Someone else took all the time, energy, effort, money, everything else that it takes to create something like this so that you could have it available to you. So that's the first thing. The second is uninterrupted information. Okay? No pop-up ads, no distractions, no competing information, no misinformation, no false information, no any weirdness. You know, if you're sitting there reading a magazine, no pop-up ads, no app, no taking a picture of anything. You've just got the information and you've got you. Okay? Another one, you've got third-party verification. And when you're new, third-party verification is extremely important. I mean extremely important. And the main reason it's extremely important is because you are not an expert in alkaline water, any of this stuff. Most cases, hell, none of it. You're not an expert in any of that. And everyone that you know knows that. So instead of you trying to convey information that the people that know you the most are going to question because it's coming out of your mouth, because they're asking, you got to remember, we are prejudged by everybody that we know. Everyone that we know. So everybody that you know knows every failure you've ever had in your life. So when you come to them with information and you say, this could be good, as soon as you say those words, the first thing that they're thinking, and pretty much the only thing that they're thinking, is every failure you've ever had in your life. They're remembering everything. Well, remember when you tried to sell that lemonade when you were 7? Yeah, that didn't work out so good. So I don't know if I should listen to you. That's what happens. And they might not say that, but that's what they're thinking. Okay? And if you understand the way people think, you can understand how to utilize information for your benefit. All right? So having something that you can hand somebody, it becomes the expert. And then all you do is corroborate the information inside to show that you know it. Okay? But if you read this entire thing from cover to cover, set it down, and then went and sat down and talked to somebody about it, they're still going to question the source because it's you. But when you hand something like this to somebody, perception is reality. When you hand a magazine to somebody like this, their perception is that this thing was produced by somebody who knows what the heck they're talking about. And just so you know, it was, because it was produced by me. And I do know what the heck I'm talking about, because I researched and studied this stuff so intently and so deeply to make sure that when I put information on a page, it is the most compelling and accurate information you can have, okay? Another thing is you've got continued exposure potential. When you give somebody a magazine, they take this thing, they read it, they read a couple articles, they set it back down. They can then pick it back up again and read it again for additional exposure. You send somebody to a website, honestly, how many times they're going to review it for a few minutes? If they ever go back to it again, it's a rarity. Okay? And we know this. How do we know this? Because it's what we do. That's how you know these things. Gauge it use yourself as the example. You know, it's like, what do? Well, if that's what you do, guess what? Most of the people that you are talking to, they're going to do the same thing. Okay? This one's a huge one and very important. Okay? It's legal ways to promote sensitive information, especially with something like this, the Physical Fitness Magazine. Okay? You guys might have seen that in Magic, when people are posting stuff on Facebook, you know, and showing like pictures of celebrities and stuff, and they're saying, look, this celebrity does this or this celebrity does that. You know, one of the things you have to understand is that the reason that Magic says you cannot do that on something like Facebook is because when you promote it like that, it appears almost like an endorsement. And if that person has not endorsed it, Magic could be liable for an actionable, you know, cause from these people. They could get sued, okay? I've had my magazines reviewed by one of the top attorneys in this industry to make sure that when I included information of Tom Brady, that I wasn't violating I wasn't going to create any problems for Enagic, for the distributors, or more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, for myself, okay? And the way that I presented the information, it's news. I didn't say Tom Brady endorses our thing, or, I didn't have Tom Brady holding up a machine. The information that's in there is information that he has himself said. I'm just reporting news. That's all that is. This is a magazine. It is news. That's what it's considered. And it's protected under the First Amendment as long as I do it correctly, which I made sure that I did. Okay? So that's a very important thing. A consistent explanation every time. If you are brand new and you don't know all the intricacies, the ins and outs of the Enagic business, if you don't know the history of Mr. Oshiro, if you don't know the industry certifications, if you don't know about the power supply, if you don't know those things, that's why it's in here. So that the business is easier to explain and easier for another person to understand. But most importantly, it's consistent every single time. Why? Because it's printed. It's printed words that don't change. Okay, it's not like a website that you can change this paragraph today and switch it around tomorrow. It stays consistent, okay? It's also safe information. There's no ulterior motives. There's no hidden agendas, okay? Matter of fact, one of the things that's very interesting about this, there's no contact information in this entire thing other than the back page where you put your information. There's no way for a person that's reading this to contact the publisher. There isn't. There's no way to. Why did I do that? Because I did not produce these in order to try to steal your prospects. I produced these to try to make dealing with your prospects easier for you. And the other thing that's kind of cool is you can use these as a training tool before you start giving them out. What does that mean? It means you need to read all the articles in here first to educate yourself. And then you give them out. And if you do that, heck, just with these 3 magazines, man, you will know a lot of stuff. You will be way ahead of the curve when it comes to that, okay? Wait a second, what time is it? It's giveaway time!
Yeah! Woo!
Wow. God, the crowd... This crowd is just amazing. I just can't believe it. Okay, so this is going to be our 3rd giveaway. And again, for live viewers only, if you're watching the recorded, sorry. That was a terrible wasn't it? Womp womp. Sorry. That was better. Okay, so this is going to be for a 25-pack of the Global Business Review magazines. All right, now this one's going to be easy, so you guys need to be ready. Be ready on the draw, okay? Enagic just celebrated how many years in business at the San Diego convention?
We have a winner.
We have a winner. Who's our winner?
Our winner is Jill Schluter.
Jill, congratulations. If you're our winner, then you must have said 45 wonderful years. That's right, folks. 45 years that Mr. Oshiro has been working towards working to create the Enagic that we know and love today. So I want to say congratulations to Jill, but I also want to say congratulations to Enagic for the ongoing success that they've been enjoying and the continued success. We've got 45 years in. I'm looking forward to the next 45. Okay? So in summary, it's important that you end up communicating with your new distributors. You want to set goals so everyone's expectations are the same. Don't let your expectations for someone else create an unnecessary issue. Okay? Have your expectations grounded in reality, not some fantasy world that you're coming from that you want these people to somehow live up to. Okay? Exercise common sense and discretion when sending prospects online. All right? Review available materials and use the ones that resonate with you and your circle. Okay? Personalize their exposure for maximum effectiveness. And what that means, and what I mean is, the materials that resonate with you and your circle. The reality is that, that there's a saying, birds of a feather flock together. It basically means that people who have similar interests tend to be around each other. Why? Well, because if you like baseball and you go to a baseball game, you're probably going to be surrounded by a bunch of baseball fans, not a bunch of football fans. Okay? That's just the way that it is. So if you have somebody who's, really interested in cooking, you might not want to give them the athletic brochure. If you have somebody who let's say you love sports. You want to give them something like this. Why? Because it resonates with them. It's what they actually like. Okay. So the reality is we've all been blessed with being introduced to these products and this business. So spread the blessings, but protect your flock. Okay, that's extremely important. So I have a couple of announcements. These are kind of important, so don't go away yet. Again, these are important things that we need to cover. All right. So first and foremost, we have a special offer available on materials on the going6a.com website. If you use the discount code SAVE when you check out of the Going6a online store, you're going to receive an extra 25% off your entire order, including items that are already on sale. Okay. So go check out everything the online store has to offer and make sure that you use this code to get an extra 25% off. If you don't know how to use the code, there's actually a video on our YouTube channel that will show you exactly how to utilize one of these codes to get the discount on your purchase. Okay? All right, next. There are some new distributor videos called Talking Tools on the Going6a YouTube channel, where you can find out everything about the best marketing materials in Enagic. So be sure to check out the videos explaining the new marketing magazines, the Heads and Tails, the Physical Fitness, and the Global Business Review. Check those out and get a behind-the-scenes look at the hows and whys the magazines were developed and the best ways to use them in your marketing efforts. Okay? There's some great tips, some great hints, and some great insight onto the hows and whys, all right? Make sure that you're receiving notices by subscribing to our email list. Again, just go to the going6a.com website and click on subscribe in the top menu bar, and it's an opt-in email list. All you got to do is put your stuff in there, and you're good to go. Okay. Now here's some big news. All right. So we're running a big giveaway right now, which actually started at the beginning of July, and it's going to run till the end of August. So it's 2 full months of potential and possibility. All right. So every person who purchases products from the going6a.com website and are subscribed to both our email list and our YouTube channel, okay? As you have to be subscribed to our email list and our YouTube channel to be in the running, okay? They're going to be, for anybody who makes a purchase and have those 2 subscriptions, you will be entered into a drawing for several different prizes, including the grand prize of a custom private Facebook Live training for you and your entire team, where the questions of your team are the training topic. So you guys will basically determine what the training will be. There's also going to be a $250 package of materials that you will be receiving to share with you and your team. Okay, so that's the grand prize. There's also the Power Players embroidered backpack package, which includes a limited edition embroidered backpack. It's just like this one. Okay, that is going to be filled with $450 worth of materials. Okay, including the coolest pin you are ever going to see in Enagic. It's this guy right here. And I don't know how well you can see that, but basically it lights up. It has the Enagic Independent Distributor logo with Enagic Kangen Water, change your life, authorized independent distributor at the bottom. And you click it and it goes off. You click it back and it goes on. And this is a fantastic, think about this. So you've got a brand new person, they're about to fill out their paperwork. And you say, oh, wait a second, here, let me give you your new pin to sign your final paperwork, and you click that on. Now they've got this glowing Enagic logo in front of them. I love quirky stuff like this, okay? I love quirky stuff like this. This might wind up in there too. These coasters. Oh, why would we have coasters? I don't know, because we're in the water business. Why wouldn't you have coasters? The pins, they come in these cool little boxes too, which are kind of neat. And I do like quirky stuff, like this, my Kangen coffee cup. I made these a long time ago. That's another thing. You should always be looking at the store to see if there's any limited edition items, because I find stuff all the time that I like, and I'll make these things because I like them and I would want to use them. And I think I typically have decent taste and stuff, so most people like them too. All right. So make sure that you take advantage of the discount offer and get yourself entered into the drawing, and you might just be a winner. Also, these bottles, the Conganizer and the Congacell, these are both on sale right now, as well as a couple other things. And don't forget, Ride the Wave, 6th edition. It's available on Amazon.com in both print and Kindle. So an electronic version of that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. We're just at about an hour. Oh, for the winners of the drawings, make sure that you send me that private message with your full name and your address. We have the names written down and everything, so we know who you are. So just send me that private message with your full name and your mailing address, and your winnings will be on their way in the next day or two. We're going to try to have it packaged up by tomorrow and probably go out on Friday. Okay? Well, that's it, guys. I hope that the rest of your July is awesome. And, of course, I wish you continued success in Enagic, and I wish you the best of health. So, my name is Gerald Kostecka. I'm coming to you live from my home office in Temecula, California. It's been a pleasure. I've appreciated your time and attention, and I hope you have a fantastic night. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you soon.